Good morning, guys. Welcome. It is Old Firm Match Day, a derby that is without compare, a derby that doesn't have any sort of rival. I think we've talked in the past, haven't we, about the possibly the Istanbul derby. We've talked about River Plate versus Boca Juniors, but certainly nothing on these isles compares to the Old Firm derby in terms of intensity, in terms of hatred, in terms of passion. And I think, both teams go into today's game, in not the best of nicks, do they? Yes, Celtic won 3 from 3 in the league and we've drawn 3 from 3 in the league. But in terms of two abject results in midweek in Europe, which were not good for Scotland's coefficient, obviously Celtic losing on penalties to Borat FC and Rangers being humiliated by Belgian side Club Brugge. Neither of those results obviously put either team in the best of form or the best of minds coming into this game, both having a substantial amount to prove, probably more on our side than their side in terms of something to prove given their domestic start to the season and our domestic start to the season. We're going to reflect first of all though on some good news for Rangers, some positive news at last for the club. We're also going to talk about a striker that is been tracked. Apparently that move is coming ever closer, according to reports both north and south of the border, for an Everton striker. No, not probably the one that a lot of us would want. Something like a Beto, for example. Someone else who I think could well be a Kevin Thelwell vanity project by the sounds of things. We'll also reflect on the fact that, Hamza scored twice on his debut for Lille. 7-1 victory for them today over Lorient, or yesterday, sorry. Hamza playing in the number 9 role and scoring 2 goals. Yeah, couldn't play in the number 9 role for us, was kept out of the team by Donkey Dessers and by Danilo. You know what? As much as I'm angry with the lad for not refusing to come on, you can't kind of blame him a little bit for what happened. Frustration quite clearly getting the better of him in the end, but certainly treated like absolute shite by this manager. Proving today, I think, that he is a top-class talent, and we've obviously missed out on a season with him as a striker. I think this season we could have definitely got him, playing as that number 9 this season and probably being one of the best players in Scotland. But yeah, thanks to Russell Martin, we miss out on that. But obviously Lille have benefited that to the tune of 2 goals today in that game. Right, let's reflect on some positive news for Rangers. That is the signing of Bojan Miovski, all confirmed now on a 4-year contract. Gotta say, what's even better, guys, if you would take a moment or take some time to examine the social media. I know social media can be a poisonous place, guys. Absolutely, of course it can. But if you go onto social media, you'll see an absolute meltdown coming from Aberdeen. Absolute meltdown. Absolutely cannot cope with the fact that Bojan Miovski has joined Rangers. It really is absolutely messing with their sheep-loving little hearts, the fact that their former striker is now a Rangers man. Hopefully he scores against them and really rubs it in their faces. It was tweeted out today, yesterday, sorry. Welcome to Bojan Miovski. We are delighted to announce the signing of Bojan Miovski from La Liga side Girona FC. The striker has signed a 4-year deal with the club and becomes the 11th signing of the summer transfer window. So it is the 11th signing. It is a permanent deal. 4.5 million thought to be the fee for the North Macedonian hitman. Certainly a very, very good move for our new number 28 to come to the club. I think he's a guy who will bring goals, he'll bring threat. He is a player that knows the league as well, so it's not like he's going to have to take time to settle into playing in Scotland. He understands what the SPL is. He understands how to play in the SPL. So obviously there is a confidence there, in Miovski coming. On signing for Rangers, Bojan Miovski said, "I'm really excited to join Rangers and take the next step in my career. This is a massive club with an incredible history, and I'm honoured to have the opportunity to be part of it. The moment I heard of their interest, I knew this was what I wanted to be. I can't wait to get started, meet my new teammates, and play in front of the fans." So all the right words coming from Bojan about his move to the club. And certainly, like I said, I welcome this move. I think this is a very, very good move for the club, a very positive move for the club. Signing a player of this calibre, this talent, this ability, certainly a player Miovski is top class. You know, he really is a top class player. I think he will bring a lot. But hopefully, I mean, I would start him tomorrow. I'd absolutely start him. Forget Donkey Dessers, forget Danilo. Get Miovski in there, get him up front, get him testing that Celtic defence right from the very start. You know, he's a player who has scored against Celtic in the past. You know, let's try and harness some of that in this game today. I think that has got to be a massive positive. Head coach Russell Martin commented, "We are delighted to bring Bojan to Rangers. His movement, intelligence and ability to score goals make him a real asset. He will further strengthen our attacking options." Hopefully he's the only attacking option, because I'm going to be honest with you, he is head and shoulders above. I mean, head, shoulders, waist, toes, everything above Cyril Dessers, and certainly head and shoulders above Danilo too. He knows all about the Scottish Premiership and has a strong track record of performing and contributing in the league. I am excited to welcome him to our squad. Although knowing Russell Martin, he'll probably play him at right back or at right wing or at left wing, probably, knowing Russell Martin's complete ineptitude at playing players in their natural positions or to shoehorn in his favourites. Sporting director Kevin Thirlwell added, "Bojan is a player we have tracked closely and we're thrilled to have secured his signature. He's proven himself as a consistent goal scorer and brings a level of quality that aligns perfectly with our ambitions. The knowledge he already has of the Scottish Premiership is a huge advantage, and I look forward to seeing what he can achieve here at Rangers." So, you know, a very positive move, I think, and a very good move for the club, bringing in this player who I think can have an impact and can help this club, our club, move on and develop this season. Very, very positive. Really like this move. Really like this transfer. I think it's a great move. You know, it's a move I would love to have seen before Bojan headed out to Spain. I think, you know, this would have been a great signing back in the day. But, you know, look, I don't think that would have gone ahead. I mean, look, you always look on the basis that Aberdeen are, you know, going to do everything they can to block that transfer, and even if it was a possibility, there would have been the natural Rangers tax from Aberdeen that they always put on players that we are interested in. There is a possible move for another striker apparently on the go at this moment in time. That is for Everton striker Youssef Chermiti. Apparently a permanent deal that could be worth up to £10 million, according to Times journalist Paul Joyce. Apparently Rangers are looking to sign the 21-year-old Portuguese player. Now, it was rumoured on an initial loan deal, but it's now been rumoured that it would be a permanent deal for around 8 million, rising to 10 million with add-ons. That is apparently the expectancy. You know, as I said, the initial feel was it would be a loan, but it now seems that it would be a permanent deal for Chermiti. Talks are progressing between both clubs, and Chermiti is expected to be a summer signing for Rangers before the deadline on Monday evening at 7 p.m. Like I said, it is Paul Joyce who is tweeting this out. You know, it appears that Rangers owners are now putting their money where their mouth is definitely spending that cash. You know, if this guy comes in, it'll be £12.5 million on centre forwards. You know, I think trying to obviously be seen to be backing their choice as head coach Russell Martin. They've already said that he will not be sacked, that he is staying in position, which is, in my eyes, an absolutely ridiculous move, keeping a manager who is absolutely incapable. You know, especially as there are other options out there, I think a lot better options than Russell Martin as our manager. You know, Chermiti, like I said, it is closing on this deal. Now, this would be another signing, a 12th summer signing to add to, you know, an incredible number who've already come through the door. I mean, look at Jayden McHomer, Lyle Cameron, JD Gassama, Thelo Asgard, Manny Fernandez, Nasser Giga, Max Aarons, Mikey Moore, Joe Rothwell, Oliver Antman, Oscar Cortez, and now Bojan Miovski. So, you know, there is a number of options. Now, you would, of course, kind of think that, you know, if Chermiti is a player that Rangers are going to bring in for a substantial fee like this, that he is obviously going to play some part this season, and also the fact that, you know, that somebody may well be on their way out. You know, I can't imagine Rangers keeping Miovski, keeping Chermiti, keeping Dessers and Danilo. I mean, you can't. I don't think keep all four forwards happy. Is this Cyril Dessers is leaving before the transfer window closes, given obviously the interest he's had this summer. Please God, let him leave. You know, it would be a substantial fee. It would be a massive salary for a player that Everton signed in 2023 for a fee of around 15 million from Sporting Lisbon. Yes, Kevin Thirlwell was responsible for signing him. You know, it'd be a £5 million loss for Everton on the player. He's never really kind of lived up to what Everton thought they were getting. He's not really shown himself to be a player at Everton. Everton have been, I think, very disappointed in what the player has kind of brought to Everton. He was always likely to have an uncertain future at the Hill Dicky Wood, whatever the stupid stadium's called. They're ridiculous. The white elephant of a stadium, absolute crap ass stadium. This summer, he has not been good enough for Everton. He will argue that he has not been given enough opportunities to prove this. He has played 24 times, however, for Everton, and has not got a very good record as a goal scorer. 23 of those appearances have come for Chimiti in the Premier League, but he has just started one of those, majority of those coming as a substitute. If you look at his overall record, it isn't the best. 24 appearances for Everton, not a single goal or a single assist for a centre forward. That's a lot of money to be spending on someone whose goal scoring record is not exactly stellar, or at least moving towards being stellar. With Sporting Lisbon, he's played 22 times for them, scored 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 goal contributions in 22. Only scored once in 19 games for their under 23s, twice in 7 for in their youth league, and once in 3 games for Everton's under 21s. I will be brutally honest with you. I am really genuinely not impressed at this signing at all. If it is £10 million on a player whose goal scoring record is no better than Josh Gentle's record, is no better than Archie Stevens' goal scoring record. He's no better than, I would say, than Danio's scoring record, which is not great anyway. But this is a lot of money to be committing to a player who has well, as the article said, and that's taking from an Everton perspective, an Everton fanzine, that he has not been good enough for Everton. To me, it's a bit of a worry that this is a Kevin Thelwell vanity project, that he's spending £10 million on a player just to prove that he was right at Everton to bring this player in. Now, maybe the playing in the Scottish Premier League suits him, but the Portuguese league is hardly the strongest. I've got to say that I can't help but feel that although he's 21 years old, although he's a Portuguese under 21 international, all I'm going to say to you is so was Fabio Silva. Fabio Silva was a big money transfer for Wolves. Fabio Silva was a Portuguese under 21 international, and it was an abject failure at Rangers. Yes, I know part of that was the way that he was used by Philippe Clement, certainly, but you can't help but feel that Chimiti, to me, smacks a little bit of a Fabio Silva type move by the club, and I genuinely am very unimpressed at this signing. I think it is £10 million wasted, if that is what the fee ends up being on a player who has not proved himself in the slightest at any of the clubs he's been at. Like I said, if he was coming from Sporting Lisbon with a more stellar goal scoring record, and he'd struggled in Everton not getting fair crack of the whip, then yeah, fair enough, I could kind of see that. But the fact that his goal scoring record at Sporting Lisbon, even in their youth setup, was not great. And he is an out-and-out centre forward. This is not a guy who can play in a number of different positions. This is a centre forward. So I've got to say, really genuinely not impressed at this one. And to me, it seems like a Dan Purdy, Kevin Thelwell vanity project to prove that they were right with their scouting and right with what they thought on the player. Very, very unimpressed, guys. Very unimpressed. Also released today, of course, was the fixtures for the Europa League. It was yesterday, sorry. So we'll start off at home against Genk on the 25th of September. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff at Ibrox to get things underway. The Belgian team, decent team. Certainly not as good as Brugge, but still a very well organised, still a decent side, will provide a very stern test. Then 2 very interesting away trips on the 2nd of October to Austria, to Sturm Graz. I think that'll be a fascinating away trip if you go on that one. 8 o'clock kickoff in Austria. Then a 5:45, obviously given the time difference to Norway, against Brandbergen on the 23rd of October. Before, I think, what is really the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here? The kind of the standout tie it's not the word I want, but the standout tie of this this little Europa League phase setup, which is Roma at home at 8 o'clock on the 6th of November. That is the big one for me. Then at home to Braga, the Hagi game, 8 o'clock. Obviously no Hagi this time now on the 27th of November. The 11th of December, head to Hungary for Ferencváros away. Again, that's a 5:45 kickoff in Hungary. Then at home, the final home game on the 22nd against Ludogorets at 8 o'clock before finalising the league fixture on the 29th of January in 2026, my God, against Porto at 8 o'clock. I mean, you can't help but worry a little bit that if we do need something, that is not going to be the easiest of ties to go and get something away, you know, in Portugal at a very difficult stadium to go to against a very good Porto side. So tricky for me, that one, tricky for me. Turning our thoughts to today's game, obviously against Celtic at a 12 o'clock kickoff, big game. Look, you know, you can discuss it all you want, but for me, you know, if they turn up and play as well as they can play and we turn up and play as we play, they'll beat us. I think that's the definite thing today. You know, as much as it pains me to say that, and it really does, you know, we are not good at the moment at all, and you've got to kind of hope that Rangers find that fire and that ability to get up for the game, the same one they had last season. Even when things were bad under Philippe Clement and even not so great under Barry Ferguson, we still had the wherewithal to get up and fight Celtic and beat them twice last season. Like I said, our Old Firm record was good last season with arguably a worse side. For me, I mean, this is my team. That I would select. I don't think Russell Martin will go with this team. I don't think Miovski will start. I think Dessers will start, unfortunately, and I think that he will start Miovski on the bench. I think, you know, Jack Butland has to start in goal. He's the one player, well, other than Finlay Curtis, who got, you know, pass marks, you know, from that game the other night. You know, he really did keep the score down. Back four, you have to, I mean, look, as much as it pains me to say it, James Tavernier starts at right back because, yes, Maida will run past him for fun, but Max Aarons is arguably that little bit worse at the moment. Suter, and I would want Suter at right side defence. I think he's better at right side defence. I think left side he's really struggled. Again, we've not seen the best of Suter. The same as, you know, the season when Beale used him at left side centre back and he really struggled because he's not a left side centre back. He's a right side centre back. Put Manny Fernandez, therefore, in a left side centre back and Jayden McHomer at left back. I think that back four is terribly, terribly weak and very, very worrying. And I think it is a back four that desperately needs adding to across all four positions still, even this late in the window. Midfield three, Raskan for me would play as a 6. He won't play tomorrow. Joe Rothwell will, unfortunately. Joe Rothwell, who is about as much use as a 3-legged cart horse, a player who makes John Lundstrom look like Rodri. I'd put Lyle Cameron and Thelo Asgard as attacking midfielders. I think he won't do that. I think he'll go with Dio and Asgard. I think he'll drop Cameron, which to me is a mistake. Cameron has been one of our best players this season. You know, he's shown heart. Every time he gets on the ball, he wants to go forward with it. He's by far a better player. So for me, I would put Lyle Cameron in there. I don't think he will. Ant-Man and Gassama, I'd be tempted to actually start Finlay Curtis over Ant-Man. Ant-Man's been absolutely shocking since that first game. Absolutely appalling. That's why I would start with Finlay Curtis. You know, 3 goals in 3. A guy who shows heart, bottle, fight every time he plays. That's what I would go with. Gassama on the left, give him a bit more freedom, take the shackles off, stop the stupid coaching Russell Martin, leave him alone, let him go and play, let him show us the player that we all think he is. And I'd put Miovski up front. I don't think he will. I mean, if you ask me now to kind of pin down what I think Martin will play tomorrow, will be Tav, Giga, Suter, McHomer, which to me is dreadful. Rothwell at 6, Dio and Asgard, a midfield that will get overrun by Celtics. I think he'll go with Ant-Man and Gassama out wide, and I think he'll go with Dessers up top. Dessers, who is useless against Celtic and has proved in multiple Old Firm games that he's not up to it. So I think that's a team that mine will go with. Not good enough in my estimations, any way, shape or form. Again, you know, look, guys, let me know what your team would be to start today. I still think, you know, personally, the way that Russell Martin's treated Nicholas Raskan and Hamza Igaman has been absolutely disgusting and worthy of being sacked for treasonous behaviour. But, you know, it is what it is, guys. Unfortunately, it's cheaper to keep a manager and sell 2 players than to sack a manager and keep 2 players, unfortunately. So that's the way we look at it. Prediction for today, I don't want to make one. I really don't. You know, heart says 2-1 Rangers, head says 3-0 Celtic. I hate saying it. Makes me feel sick. I just got no confidence in the boys today. I mean, look, anything can happen. It's an Old Firm. anything could happen. It really genuinely could. I think if we win, that's him sealed for the rest of the season, no matter how bad things get. I think if we lose, he stays anyway. I think the 49ers have pinned their sort of colours to the mast by keeping a manager who is just genuinely useless. But it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Let me know your score predictions in the comments as well. Thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, guys. As always, it's been a pleasure speaking to you here on the channel. If you've enjoyed the content, please like, comment, share and subscribe. We are just 6 subscribers at time of recording away from hitting the magic 8,000 mark. Please obviously help us get there. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.